Hey guys, what is going on? It is Cruzavi here and I welcome each and every one of you to a brand new tutorial video for our channel, The Guide. And this one is going to be about through balls because those are pretty dang strong in FIFA 21 and we're going to take a look at the deciding factors for the outcome of through balls and then also on all the different techniques there are and when to use each one. But before we get into that, I have quite the exciting announcement to make, guys, and I'm very glad to finally being able to share this with you because for the upcoming season of FIFA 21 we're going to launch a new project called The Guide Plus. The Guide Plus is a platform where we, the creators of The Guide, are going to release additional educational FIFA content. In fact, 4 pieces of content every single week, and those will include, of course, gameplay tips on how you can improve your game and take it to the next level, but also FIFA Ultimate Team will play a huge role on the Guide Plus. A lot of tips and tricks on the biggest FIFA game mode are coming up there. Then also tactical content, guides on formations and tactics and stuff like that, and last but not least, the mental aspect of the game, the right mentality that you need to have to improve, will also be featured on the Guide Plus. So all in all, guys, our goal with this new platform is to release even more content for you guys and make you become a better player every single week, because with the Guide Plus we're able to stay closer to the FIFA meta throughout the season and we can make sure that you always stay ahead of the curve, on top of the game, so that you have an edge over your opponents. And so if you're looking to improve your results in division rivals, the weekend league, or just become a better player in general, then the Guide Plus is definitely made for you. I also want to mention that, of course, here on YouTube on our The Guide channel, nothing is going to change. We have tons of tutorials coming up for FIFA 21 and we even made some steps in order to make sure that we have content coming up on the channel more often and more consistently. So don't you worry about that, guys. So if you're interested in the Guide Plus, then definitely go ahead and check that first link in the description down below. Over on the side you can also find some free content pieces in order to get a taste of what's coming during FIFA 21. We would be very glad to see you subscribing. It's also a way to support the work that we do in general. It's very much appreciated, guys. And now let's head right into the video. To kick things off, I want to talk about the determining factors that decide if a through ball is going to be successful or not. Note that I'm only going to touch briefly on these different points since there is a dedicated video on exactly this topic on our channel already, which is linked in the top right corner right now. So definitely check that out afterwards if you want to go more in depth on this part of learning through balls. So the first thing you need to look out for is if an opponent defender is covering the run made by your strikers. So if an AI player is running backwards to cover the space, or even more if the opponent is manually selecting his defender and running backwards, then that means that you shouldn't play the through ball since it will most likely be intercepted, since the chances of your striker getting to the ball first are very low. So take a look at this example right here. First, I see that my opponent is selecting Varane to cover the run made by Lucas, but then as I wait and as I delay the timing, you can see that he stopped to cover the run, and that's the perfect timing for me to still go for the through ball, because now Lucas has an open run, lots of space in front of him, and therefore it's an easy goal. You should also be aware that in FIFA 21 your strikers can play out their tempo advantage much better than in the previous year. So that's why if you see that the opponent is not manually selecting his center back or wing back and covering the run very early, and you see that your striker or winger is catching up to the defender, you can go for the through ball, because your player will often be able to surpass the opponent's defender and reach the ball first, which leads to dangerous opportunities when going for through balls with the right timing here. What's very important to consider here, as I said, is the timing of your through ball. So that means when you see your attacker making a run, you should delay the through ball until your attacker is about to cross the offside line. So that's the perfect timing. Sometimes you can play it a bit earlier, better earlier than too late. So just watch the run made by your player carefully, and then when you see that he's about to break through, that's exactly when you want to make the input for the through ball. Alright, now that we got the basics out of the way, let's talk about the different through ball techniques and when to use each one. So we'll start off with the simple normal low through ball, which is just played by pressing triangle on PlayStation or Y on Xbox. And so this one is your go-to version of the through ball. You can use it to just use some open space, play the ball in front of your player who's making a run. It doesn't matter if that's on the wing or in the center. If you see some space and a run made towards that, then you can use this version of the through ball. You can also use it to convert simple 1-2 passes if your player is making a good run. And also you can play long, deep through balls towards your strikers or wingers down the line or very deep through the center, and then you can convert on those runs and score very easy goals in FIFA 21. So basically, if the passing lane isn't blocked and you can get the ball to your attacker directly on the ground, that's the situation when you most likely just want to use the simple low through ball. Now next up we have one of my favorite through ball versions, the Lofted one. And this one you play by double tapping triangle on PlayStation or Y on Xbox in quick succession. Note that with the first press of the button you power up the through ball, and then with the second short press you confirm that you want to play a Lofted version. And this one is played slightly above the ground, but that can already work wonders, because you want to use this version in order to play through tight gaps when a defender could intercept the pass. And this is especially great if you want to play through balls inside the box, because here a lobbed high through ball often will be very hard for your player to control and convert into a goal, and that's why you can use the Lofted version here. So let's take a look at two examples which really showcase the power of this technique. So in this first one here, I'm winning the ball back right in front of the opponent's goal because I'm putting pressure on him high up the pitch, and I see that Son is making a very promising run, but I also see that the opponent is selecting his center back in order to cover that run. And if I play a normal low through ball here, then the chances of it being intercepted are very high, because the gap between the center back and the wing back is not very big, and obviously the opponent is trying to move Klostermann downwards in order to get a foot on the ball. So that's why I double tap the through ball here and I play a Lofted one, and you can see how close Klostermann is getting to the ball, but he's just not able to make the animation in order to intercept the ball. And what's also nice about these through balls is that your players generally are able to convert them pretty well. Either you do one touch in order to prepare the shot, or if you don't have time for that, you can also finish first touch, because the ball is bouncing a bit, and that allows you to either lob the ball or to just go for a half volley with a lot of power. The second example right here is also very nice. I see another good run by one of my players into the box, but once again the gap is very tight, and there are two players who could intercept this ball. First the one who's close to Pogba, and then the one who's covering the run. But by double tapping, once again playing the Lofted through ball, I'm able to squeeze it into this tight gap, and Carrasco is able to convert beautifully and finish with a goal. The only thing you have to note is that these through balls got patched and balanced out a bit because they were too strong. So that means if you try to play them in a difficult spot over a longer distance especially, then they will not be as accurate as normal through balls would be. So that's where you can sometimes go wrong by attempting too crazy plays with this version of the through ball. So just watch out for that. Next up we have the threaded through ball, and this one is a deeper and bit different directed version of the normal low through ball. You can play it on PlayStation by pressing R1 and triangle at the same time, and on Xbox pressing RB and Y at the same time. The first spot where I find this one quite useful in FIFA 21 is when you want to play long deep passes down the wing to your striker or winger. And I don't know if you ran into this already, guys, but sometimes these passes are played very poorly, just too short, not with enough power, and therefore you need to slow down your attack and you're not getting into that running duel which you originally wanted. The defenders can catch up, and I found that if you play the through balls with R1 or RB here instead, then that leads to them being played with more power and with a bit of spin sometimes even, so that they can be played very far down the sideline and still your player is able to reach the ball first. So try them out in this spot and see how it goes for you. But they can also be useful in the center of the pitch, like in this example right here. I'm initiating a 1-2 with Son, and then I see that the opponent is selecting Varane in order to still cover that run, but Son is already on the same level as Varane in this situation, so that's why I still want to go for the through ball. But I know that I have to play it very far and a bit more towards the outside with some curve, so that Son will have a shorter way to the ball than Varane and will be able to get there first. And that's why here I played with R1 and I power it up very much, and then in the end I'm able to get into a dangerous chance. I'm just not really using the right skill move here and I'm too predictable, which is why he's able to defend in the end. The lobbed through ball, as the name suggests, is a lobbed version of the through ball with a pretty high and lobby arc. So this one is played by pressing L1 and triangle on PlayStation or LB and Y on Xbox, and generally it is used to play through balls if the direct way with a low or even a lofted through ball is just blocked by a defender because he's positioned very well, but still there is a lot of space behind the defender and maybe your striker even has a tempo advantage already, and so you want to play the through ball but you just need to get it over the defender, so that's when you use the lobbed version. Honestly, there's not really much more to it. I just like to use this one in situations like right here. I don't know why the opponent stepped out with his center back, but he did. Maybe he wanted to cover the short pass, and so I see that Son is having tons of space in front of him, and I know that if I just can lob the ball over this one center back, I will be through on goal and I will be able to convert. It's actually still getting quite close since the goalkeeper is rushing out and I'm not having much time to do the finish, but fortunately Son is just busted and converts with a lob finish with his head here, so still a nice goal. And now last but not least, a very interesting version is the driven lobbed through ball, and I like this one quite a lot in FIFA 21, so stay with me. This one is a more direct version of the lobbed through ball with a lower arc, so it gets to your player more quickly and more directly, and it's being played a bit more forward compared to the lobby one. And you can play this one by holding both L1 and R1 plus triangle on PlayStation and then LB plus RB plus Y on Xbox. First spot where I like this one is if you have a player, especially on the wing, who's having lots of space in front of him, and you could play a normal lobbed through ball, but you just want to use that space more quickly. You want to play the ball a bit more forward so that your player can really accelerate and then get control of the ball easier since it's not as bouncy. So here I typically now play a driven lobbed through ball. But that's not all there is to it. This one can also be extremely busted if your striker is making a run into the box that either isn't covered at all or is covered poorly. So when both the defender and your attacker are on the same height already, and as we talked about before, strikers generally have the tempo advantage. And here you want to play a high through ball to your striker, but you also don't want the defender to have a lot of time in order to run back and then head the ball out, as you would have if you play the lobbed one. So instead play the driven lobbed through ball, and this ball will have a lower arc, and defenders typically tend to struggle quite a lot to still get into position, or just generally to head this ball out, to get control of it, to really challenge your striker. And then in addition to that, your striker also often can convert this ball by making the first touch with his feet instead of his chest or his head, and that's why he can get control of the ball very quickly, and therefore you can prepare a good finish. I mean, just look at this example right here. I initiate a 1-2 with Son in the midfield, and then I get the ball to Allen, and he has a lot of space, and I just watch for the run of Son. And obviously you would never really think that a through ball is possible here, so that's why the opponent also is not paying attention to it at all. And right as Son is about to cross the offside line, I play the pass towards him, and it's really played perfectly by Allen. Unfortunately, I'm not quite able to convert into a goal, but guys, definitely give this version a go, try it out, because there are spots where you can play passes with this one which otherwise you would never be able to play. What you want to watch out for though is that you don't overdo it. If other easier through ball versions are available to you, then go for those, because as I said, the driven lobbed one is directed more forward and with a lower arc, so sometimes it just gets played too far and then your player is not able to reach the ball, or the goalkeeper will get to it first. So I found that if your player is already through on goal and is in a quite good spot, then try to go for a different version, because for some reason in these special cases your player is going to play a poor version of the driven lobbed through ball. So watch out for that, guys, and just experiment a bit with it, and you should get a pretty good feeling for when and when not to play this type. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I hope it's helpful to you and allows you to experiment more with through balls in FIFA 21, because there's lots of variation, lots of potential, and just in general I find them very rewarding and fun this year. So please give the video a thumbs up, that would help us out massively and help us to grow the channel further. Very much appreciated, guys. And also don't forget to consider subscribing if you don't want to miss any further tutorial videos just like this one for FIFA 21. I better talk to you in the next one. See you then. Much love. Peace.